courage to love.
Making way for the wind.
Summer had arrived, and sunlight dripped like golden honey over the city. But this summer felt different. The air itself seemed to have solidified, hanging heavy and hot, making it a little hard to breathe. A boy named Jake loved to go to the Sunshine Park at the end of his street in the afternoons with his friends from the neighborhood. A big banyan tree stood there like a giant green umbrella, and its shade was always cool and comfortable. They would play hide and seek, run around, or just lie on the grass watching the clouds drift slowly by. But recently, Jake noticed the park had changed. That comfortable feeling was gone. It's so hot. There's no wind at all, Jake said, fanning his face with his hand as he spoke to his best friends, Lucy and Sam. Lucy wiped a sweat from her forehead and nodded. Yes, look, the leaves aren't moving at all. It's like they're asleep. Sam pointed listlessly at the swings. Even the swings aren't fun anymore because there's no cool breeze on your face when you swing. The whole park was quiet. The leaves that usually danced and rustled in the wind were now perfectly still. The little birds in the trees were too lazy to sing, just sitting there with their beaks open, panting. The grandparents who came for a walk kept fanning themselves with folding fans, but beads of sweat still dotted their faces. Everyone felt sticky, hot, and uncomfortable. Where did the wind go? Jake wondered, looking up at the sky, his heart full of questions. That night, as Jake lay in bed with his window open, not a single cool breeze drifted in. He tossed and turned, too warm to sleep easily. Just as he was drifting into a fuzzy, half-dream state, he thought he heard a very, very soft sigh, followed by a whisper, so faint it was like a thought. I didn't go away, ... I just lost my way, ... Jake opened his eyes. Near his window was a soft silvery glow, like a cluster of fireflies. The glow slowly formed into a transparent, shimmering little figure, with hair as fluffy as a cloud, and a body so light, it seemed it might drift apart. It was a wind spirit named Zephyr. Hello, Jake. Zephyr's voice was like the gentle chime of distant wind bells. I heard your question. Jake was surprised and delighted. He sat up. Are you the wind? Why don't you blow through our park anymore? Everyone is so hot, and we all miss you. A troubled look crossed Zephyr's face. He floated gently to the windowsill and pointed out at the city's nightscape. Do you see those tall buildings, one after another? They are like giant brick walls, blocking the paths I used to take. I could easily blow from the river, through patches of green land, carrying the scent of grass and earth to your park. But now, those routes have been changed. Jake looked out his window. The city was indeed full of tall buildings, standing close together. And, Zephyr continued, his voice growing even softer, many of the open spaces that were once covered with grass and flowers, where I could rest and play, are now concrete or asphalt. The green spaces have shrunk. I don't have enough room to flow and swirl. I've grown weak, lost my direction, and I can't push through those hard, hot streets. Jake finally understood. The wind hadn't vanished. It was trapped and lost, We have to help you, Jake said with determination. Tell us what to do. Zephyr's eyes brightened. You need to make a way for the wind. Encourage people to plant green life up high, to soften those hard surfaces, so I can find my paths again and flow. First thing the next morning, Jake eagerly found Lucy and Sam and told them all about his visit from the wind spirit, Zephyr. They thought it was magical and very important. The three friends decided they had to do something. They knew a project this big needed lots of help. Jake started by telling his parents. Mom and Dad listened thoughtfully. Zephyr makes a lot of sense, Dad agreed, nodding. The city really does need more green, not just for the wind, but for us too. Mom added her support. We can start by planting some things on our own balcony. But their family alone wasn't enough. With his parents' encouragement and company, Jake, along with his friends, went to see their community's mayor. They were a little nervous, but they bravely shared their discovery and Zephyr's request. Mayor, can we find a way to plant more things on the rooftops and balconies? It could help the wind blow through, and then everyone wouldn't feel so hot, Jake asked earnestly, looking up at the adult. The mayor was surprised at first, but seeing the children's sincere and hopeful faces, he smiled. That's a wonderful idea, making our community cooler and more beautiful. Let's try it together. With the mayor's support, a fun Windway project began. First, they formed a Wind Watchers Club with Jake, Lucy, Sam, and other interested children from the community. They learned how to track the wind's direction. Jake's dad showed them how to tie a lightweight ribbon to a stick to make a simple wind vane, watching which way the ribbon pointed. They also observed the leaves on the big trees in the park, noting if they were trembling, and drew their daily weather and wind observations in a big wind log. The community residents sprang into action too. On weekends, everyone gathered to clean up some unused rooftop spaces and bare balconies. They bought many easy-to-grow plants from the garden store: green ivy, colorful lantana, fragrant mint, and rosemary. The adults handled moving bags of soil and pots, while the children excitedly helped place the young plants into the soil and carefully water them. They even invited a retired gentleman from the community, who was great at crafts, to teach them. Mr. Oldman showed everyone how to make cute little bird nests from recycled materials to hang in the rooftop gardens, inviting birds to visit. He also taught them how to make beautiful wind chimes from seashells, old keys, and little bells. When the wind finally blew gently again, these chimes would sing with a lovely ting-a-ling sound, as if singing a welcome song for the wind's return. At school, Jake and his classmates created a large wind and green space observation wall, displaying their drawings, recorded data, and photos from their activities. They even designed a simple game to teach all the children at a school assembly, helping everyone understand how important wind and green spaces are in a city, and what we can do to help them. Slowly, change began to happen. One afternoon, Jake and his friends were playing in Sunshine Park again. Suddenly, Lucy gasped with delight. "Do you feel that?" A gentle, cool breeze brushed against their cheeks. "I feel it," Sam cheered, spreading his arms wide. The leaves of the big banyan tree in the park began to sway, gently and softly, making that lovely rustling sound they had missed so much. The birds in the tree started chirping and singing again. The grandparents relaxing under the tree smiled with relief, putting away their fans to enjoy the long-missed coolness. The wind had returned. It was gentler than before, carrying the faint scent of flowers from the rooftop and balcony gardens as it whispered through the streets and the park. The residents all noticed that the summer afternoons became much more bearable, cooler, and more comfortable. Walking home hand in hand with his mom, Jake felt the cool breeze on his face. His mom smiled down at him gently and said, "You see, just by learning to leave a little space for the wind, the city and nature can find a way to breathe and live together." This feeling of caring for our environment and taking action to help is a wonderful kind of strength that will stay with you as you grow. Jake nodded, his heart full of happiness and a sense of accomplishment. He had learned that when we are willing to think about our natural neighbors and take small steps to help, the whole world can become a more beautiful and harmonious place.